Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 3, number 2 out of 3. This is going to be the oblique system. This is the internal and external obliques, which pretty much run alongside here. The external obliques, I'll show you right now, connect to the 6 lower ribs. That means the 6 lower ribs like that. That's their attachment, and they all connect to the linea alba, which is the middle. So it's all the way down here. You're going to go alongside that with a softball. A lacrosse ball, maybe if you're pretty tender, you might have to start with that. And a Theracane we're going to be using as well. Theracane is one of my favorite tools for this. So the lower 6 ribs is where we're going to start. And then it actually connects around the iliac crest, the iliopsoas muscle. It kind of intercedes between all that. And then you'll see the internal obliques a little bit deeper right there. So there's a little bit of an intersection between the iliac crest and the ribs, their last 12th rib. That gets very compressed, and if you can't fit 3 fingers in there like that, most likely you are way too compressed in your rib cage, way too compressed in your spine, and etc. A lot of people's hips, ribs are jacked up from the lifting that we're doing, the sitting, the driving. Driving especially, if you're driving a lot, you guys are screwed up, no doubt about it, because your calf, your right foot is getting way overstimulated, not only through your nervous system, repetitive movements, but just the fascia in general is just getting extremely dehydrated and overworked, and that's going all the way up your lateral hamstring, your glutes, and as well as your QL, your back, etc. So, internal obliques, external obliques, we're going to start off with the Theracane. Before that, you can start off with the gua sha tool. I like to use an intense gua sha tool like this, which is from Kabuki Strength. Maybe a wooden one wouldn't work too well. I like to get my posture up nice and tall, tuck my butt, make sure you're sitting back on the heels, make sure your feet are straight, make sure you're tucking your butt, meaning you have a level, neutral pelvis. If you take a ruler here, it should be nice and level, like that, right? Sit back on the heels. It's not just tucking, it's also sitting back and tucking at the same time, which is very difficult because you're also gonna get that chest up nice and tall and try to maintain that position. You might need a mirror to kind of get the idea of what we're trying to accomplish, but a neutral level collarbone and then a neutral level pelvis, and then simply just suck the tummy in, because we need to really expose this oblique system. In order to do that, gotta get nice and tall, gotta expand that as much as we can. So tuck, chest up, suck the tummy in. I like to start with the gua sha tool. Just go alongside the ribs like we just talked about. Actually works very well to just get that surface tension, but this will not fix your issues. There's a lot of people that just use this. This is great, this works very well. Way better than stretching, that's for sure. But deep tissue trigger pointing, extra deep tissue trigger pointing, deeper than you've ever gone before, anyone's ever done on you. Very important to hold it for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Is going to be a lot more beneficial, and you're going to actually create long-lasting results as long as you follow up with corrective exercises, which we have on our foundational fitness program. Make sure that you're retraining the nervous system. All right, so we got the obliques. That works pretty well. Surprisingly, it didn't look like I was doing much, but it actually helped quite a bit. I can actually feel a lot looser. But we're going to start with the Theracane. We have the softball, we have the lacrosse ball you can use on a book, but like I said, it's not really that effective on a book. I prefer, if you're starting out, use the lacrosse ball, but I prefer the softball. You'll see later it's way more painful. So before we did the upper abs in the middle, you're just going to go a little bit to the side along that rib cage, and you're going to try to go underneath that rib right there with that Theracane. All right, so once again, we're going here, 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 and then we're going into that intersection between that iliac crest and that rib, right? Different tools you'll definitely need. Take this right here, suck that tummy in, get in your posture once again, and just go underneath. Oh man, most of the calcification you will not be able to access with your tools, meaning it's deep inside underneath your rib cage. It's calcified completely. Most people are compressed, as well as your pelvis. Those areas you can't really access. This is why trigger point is very important. You get everything else, but you still have to do corrective exercises. You have to combine it with that. But I would still just recommend starting with trigger pointing for 3 months, 6 months straight, 30 to 60 minutes a day, and that would be a great start, just starting with that alone. This is why we have the free trigger point guide, because we have our foundational fitness program, but you can simply just start trigger pointing right away, get started. It's perfectly fine. Once again, I'm just pushing in as deep as I can, tucking the butt, chest up, sucking my tummy in it. I'm gonna breathe into the Theracane or the ball, whatever you're using. And I'm gonna go up and just explore different angles. Finding that dull, achy, tender pain that radiates around. Tucking the butt once again. You'll notice sometimes my posture kind of goes out. That's not good. Because it's painful, I'm focusing on the tenderness, but we don't want to take away from our posture. We don't want to compromise our structure. Breathing into the Theracane. We're not breathing into our neck. We're not breathing into our belly. Remember, we're sucking in, breathing in. Like a dog who flails his ribs out, right? When they breathe, they flail their ribs out. They expand outwards. That's what we want to do. Try to avoid breathing up here. It's hard to sometimes, even for me as well. I struggle sometimes on that. This I can feel my back. I'm gonna go a little bit down. Way more tender in the middle. And here's the thing, guys. When it comes to organ health or digestive health, a lot of times with trigger point, we just talk about hydration, calcification, pain relief, mobility, performance. All that's incredible, and all that is alone important enough to trigger, enough of a reason to be trigger pointing every single day, right? And I don't always, but I should. I need to be. But digestive health and organ health is a really overlooked thing in the health industry, especially the repeat community. A lot of people just think you can supplement. You cannot get rid of structural issues through diet. It's impossible. I'm sorry, but if you've never worked with clients, then you have no basis to talk about, because the thing is, with structure, you can't fix that with diet. If you're compressed, you can't fix that with diet. You can help it. You can start gently decalcifying your body internally, especially the areas you can't access. That's awesome. But if you have a structural issue from a nervous system imprinted pattern, a dysfunctional pattern, you're never going to be able to correct that with diet. You got to retrain your body. You got to learn how to move again. This is why functional patterns is so important. A lot of people don't realize that. I honestly think movement is the most important thing that we need to be doing. We need to be getting taller. We need to be decompressing our ribcage, creating expansion in there. Recorrecting our pelvis position, recorrecting our collarbone position. A lot of that comes from the abs and the obliques, and this is why I really want to spend some time with you guys and really show you why it's so important to hit the abs and how to hit them the right way. So this is good here. I just hit the top, the middle, I kind of went down to the lower portion. You will definitely want to use your Theracane for this lower portion, meaning the iliac crest, this runway we were talking about here earlier, alongside here near the iliacus. Just explore a little bit. You can't really go wrong with that. Definitely be careful with the organs, but just go gentle at first. Go outside your tolerance, your pain tolerance, and work slowly and try to sink in as deeply as you can to that dull, achy, tender spot, right? It should be dull, it should be achy, and it should be radiating pain outwards or deep into the body. So I'm doing it like this. I can also hook it around like this. These Theracanes are only 20, 30 bucks on Amazon. Very cheap. Whew. And then that side portion I was just talking about earlier, if you saw in that picture, once again, that's between that iliac crest and the ribs, right there. Horrible. You can kind of hit this with a lacrosse ball on a book, not kind of, if the book's tall enough. The softball's a little bit too big for this, so I highly recommend just using the Theracane, trying to jam it in there and get as tall as you can. Tuck in the butt. I know my posture was kind of going crap. Sorry about that, guys. Chest up nice and tall, sucking that tummy in. Digging in, this whole hip junction area gets super locked up. And so when we're running, when we're doing movements, a lot of times we'll just kind of, kind of just lock up that hip and all that momentum that we should be carrying out through our entire body, because our body's an X, remember? Walk, run, and throw. Our body works like an X, always. That's the main movements that we do. That's how we're designed as human beings. If we have this position right here, we're not able to properly twist and move and rotate efficiently enough, we're going to jam up that hip too much, and that's when you're going to experience back pain, etc., etc. So, right there is pretty good. I'm going to show you with the softball now. This is my favorite, but you do need the Theracane for that, and sometimes a little bit more deeper underneath those ribs as well. So, the last one is going to be with the softball. Very simple. I'm just alongside the ribs. I'm starting at the top again. We're gonna work all the way down as much as you can. But the difference is I'm gonna reach out my left arm on my left oblique
and you can actually turn it out, whatever, and then it's pretty much, you're already there. Make sure you're not compromising your posture too much. You can use a pillow to rest your neck, but I like to kind of keep my chest up, tuck the butt a little bit, and just more importantly, just try to sink in while you suck the tummy in, because you gotta make sure your belly's off the ground. Sink in as deep as you can into that ball. Oh man. I just hit this earlier and it's so bad still. And that's the thing, you guys will find, you'll hit it, the pain will kind of go away, but you can actually go deeper and it's gonna be even worse. That's the worst part about it. That's also the best part, because you're starting to get to some deep layers. Suck the tummy in, breathe into the ball. Don't breathe into your lower belly. Do not breathe into your upper neck. 2 to 6 breaths per minute. You're trying to breathe 10 seconds each way. Oh yeah, 5 to 10 minutes each side, guys. If you find one spot like this, maybe spend just 5 minutes on that alone. Explore, find something that's a little bit more tender. I found it just now, a little bit lower. Horrible. Reach that arm out a little bit more, sink in. Oh yeah. Once again, you cannot fix organ damage completely or digestive distress completely unless you fix the restrictive behavior on your structure. If you're compressed, you're not going to have good digestion. If you're compressed, you're not going to have good liver health. You can't just take a pill. You can't just take colostrum for your gut, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. You have to fix the structure. It's going to be a lot easier to be healthy and hydrated if you work on that, because if you have calcification all over around your organs, you're going to be messed up. You have to be doing trigger points every day. And I know these videos are a little bit long. They don't get a ton of views because people don't like trigger point. People don't like the pain, but I'm going to keep doing them because, one, I have to finish the new trigger point guide. But guys, make this a daily habit, at least 3 to 6 months, I'd say, of 30 to 60 minutes. And then once you're kind of done with that, you can do like 20 minutes a day as like a maintenance program every other day or something, but try to keep it every day. Go deep, explore your body, know your body, understand your body. Make this your new health tool. This is your foundation for health, not pills. This is your foundation. All right, guys. We'll see you on day 3. Still got to finish it up. 3 out of 3, that'll be the hamstrings next. We'll see you soon.